Hey everybody, and welcome back to Flippin' Profit. Today I'm going to show you how I list items on eBay to maximize profit and shorten my storage time. I'm going to do this by walking you through one example live while sharing my screen. So this is going to be a great video for those that have never done this before, just trying to learn how to list items on eBay. But I'm also going to diverge into different discussions just because how you list clothing versus something electronic is going to be very different. So there's a lot of different scenarios to talk about. So if you're an experienced professional just trying to make small adjustments to increase your profit to move stuff off the shelves, this will be a great video for you too. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. Alright, now that you have your item, let's go ahead and open up that eBay app. In the bottom right corner, you can see the Sellers tab, and you can hit the button that says List an Item, but that's pretty inefficient. It takes a lot longer, and as resellers, time is money. So go ahead and just go to the top for me and hit the camera button and take a picture of your item. Now, if you don't get it to pop up initially, I recommend using Google Lens. Sometimes that has a lot better luck for me, especially with clothing. So don't forget about that option. Now, once you get in there, you will see either all the previously sold items, or like you're seeing now, my filters are set to just show me what's out there on eBay so I can see the competition. But to do this, we're actually going to use a previously sold item because that's going to allow us to let somebody else do a lot of the legwork and just kind of fill in the blanks. So go ahead and go to your filters if you need to and click the previously sold and completed items. So I do notate how much things are selling for and when they last sold, but at this screen we're really just trying to pick the best title and description of the item. So once you find that, go ahead and select that and hit the Sell One Like This button. The title will be able to change here in a second. So the first two things you're going to see are the photos and the title on the screen. Now these are the two most critical steps to actually getting a customer to click on your listing and getting you halfway to a sale. I'm going to start here in the title just because it's a little bit easier. You can see you only get 80 characters, so be very efficient. Put your brand in there. In this case, I put it's an Igloo cake pan made in the USA. I went ahead and added its mint condition just because the inside of it isn't really good. But depending on what you're selling, right? If it's electronics, put a model number. If it's vintage, you can put vintage on there. Anything you can do to help explain to the seller what exactly you have. So under the photos field, you can see you can either upload photos or take photos. Now I already took them, so you don't have to watch me take them all, but we'll go through them here in a second. So I'm going to hit the upload photos button, and I can show you how easy it is just to select ones I've previously taken on my iPhone to upload here. So the first picture I'm going to show you here is the main one that is going to be shown on the listing, and it will make a difference between the buyer clicking on it or not. It needs to really be the whole item if you can. Now, if you're selling something bigger than what can fit in a picture, I don't know what you're selling. But also, when you go through, take a picture of every single angle of this item, any nicks or dings or any just stains, anything like that. You want to communicate to your customer through the photos what exactly they're getting, and they don't get any surprises when they receive the item. This will help you lower your risk and not get a notification that your buyer wants to return it because they didn't see something of that nature. Now, like I said, if there's a brand, like I said, Nordic you're seeing here, you want to take a picture of that to clearly show, hey, this is a Nordic cake pan made in the USA, all that kind of stuff. And then also, some items may need sizing pictures, so I'm showing you here a Coors Light NASCAR sign that I actually took a picture with a tape measure just to show the buyer, hey, here's how long it is, here's how tall it is, just to further communicate. And then lastly, this is one of my things I do, take a picture of it where it might actually be used. This might help the buyer visualize this item in the home, so you can see here this Nordic cake pan, I've got it on my stove here. So the next part is actually the category, which when you copy somebody else's work, you can see here it's already set up as a cake pan, so I'm not going to really mess with this and just kind of go with it and move on to the next section. Now condition, this is one that's a big deal. Be honest with yourselves. It depends on what the item is, if it's used, if it's for parts, if it's mint, it might ask you that as far as clothing. Just be honest. Don't say something's in mint condition if it's got a stain that you're hoping the buyer doesn't see. That's just a recipe for a return coming your way. So just be honest on that section. Getting into the item specifics here, this is another one that if you copy somebody else's work, I usually just double check it and make sure everything looks good. On this one, it said this item had 10 holes. I'm not sure what that was coming from. To me, there's only one hole on the backside, so I just changed that to one, but I don't think that's that big of a deal. But still, if you were to try to list this without using my process here, you would have to create this and do this line by line and type in all this information, which again is inefficient and not something you want to practice. So moving right along, we're halfway done now, moving into the description. Now this, it's kind of debatable. Some people don't even type this out because most buyers probably don't even read this. But there's an option to do an AI written description here, as you're seeing. I usually just do that. It takes 2 seconds, but only thing I have to do, go ahead and just double check, read it. Like I said, make sure if there's any kind of damage that's spoken out here in the description. So what I'll do here is I actually let the AI description write itself. I read it over, it looks good, but I'll go ahead and just add a sentence or two here that just kind of states there's a sticker on the exterior of the pan. It doesn't affect the product at all, but please see the pictures. So again, just another way to communicate. And then when I do sell this item, this case I probably won't reach out, but if there is some kind of damage or something that I put in the description, I reach out to the buyer and let them know, hey, did you read the description? Did you see this damage before I ship it? That way we're on the same page, and if they didn't see it and they don't want to buy the product anymore, I don't lose the shipping fee and all that kind of madness, and kind of get past a negative review in the end. So getting into the most important field that'll actually help you make the sale if you do it right is pricing. So you can see here, there's a couple different ways you can price. You can do an auction, which costs money, so I don't really ever do that. Or you can do a buy it now price. Now, if you're interested in auction, you can see here, you can pick the number of days, how many days you want this thing to be on an auction. But like I said, the longer duration, the more it's going to cost you, and you can pick your starting bid. So um, if you want to get into that, it's probably worth it for some items, but for me, I usually just do the buy it now. When you look at the buy it now price, it actually recommends a price to list the unit as. And when you click on that, you can see how it came to that median price just by the recent sales, but this is only half the equation. So I'm going to back out, and I'm going to go all the way to what is currently listed on eBay right now. And since I really don't want to hold on this forever, I'm going to undercut a lot of people. And you can see based on this, they go anywhere from around $8, which is an auction, so I'm not sure what that is, and then most of them are listed for about $12 to $20. So I'm going to go ahead and list this right at about $12.50 just to hopefully move it pretty quick since I only spent about 50 cents on this item. So one other lever I would recommend putting on is always allowing offers. Now this case, this item's only worth, $12.50, but some of these other items I have listed for 100 bucks. If somebody's willing to offer me, 5, 10 bucks less than what I have it listed for, I'm probably going to take it depending on what I bought it for and how long I've had it. So just allow offers. I still have people that will buy it at full price, won't even offer me anything. So it just depends who the buyer is, but I just want to open you up to more opportunity of people that are willing to come in and pay the price that they want to pay. So getting into shipping here, it's actually going to copy the last seller's data, so you want to be sure to check this or it could be way off and you would have to pay out of pocket. So the first thing you're going to look at is the package details, and I can't stress enough, it's the package details, not your item details. So just be sure you're factoring in the weight, how big the actual box will be, not the cake pan I'm trying to sell. It's going to actually be the box that I'm putting it in. All the materials go into that. That is packaging, bubble wrap, whatever I'm going to put it in to ship it. So just make sure you look through all that so you don't end up having to pay dollars on your item. Now, the next thing it's going to actually ask you is about the shipping service. So just check your rates. For me, it seems to be that USPS is typically cheaper for smaller items, and then FedEx is quite a bit cheaper for the larger ones. But also get tracking. Don't get a service that doesn't offer that. If the buyer comes back and says, hey, I never got your item, and you don't have tracking, you kind of don't have a leg to stand on. But also don't get a service that takes, 2 months to get there, right? And then the last thing is who actually pays the fee. So some people jack up the prices and they pay free shipping themselves as the seller, but you can also make the buyer pay, which is usually what I do. And I usually just do the calculated shipping rate. I don't do a flat rate just because to me, I'd rather put in there what I'm actually going to be shipping it in to be as close as possible and accurate as possible to give them a cost of actual shipping. And then the last option at the very bottom is actually local pickup. You can do this if you don't mind meeting people in person. I've sold a couple items like this. It gives you a barcode to scan, so when you meet the person, they see the item, they're happy with it, and then they scan your barcode to show that they actually picked it up, and eBay is able to take that and show that the sale was successful. So just another option depending on how you want to do it. If you don't want to meet people in person, that's totally fine. I don't think that would be a big miss on your sales. The next section is also important just to help you be a better overall seller. So in the preferences section, try to do as quick as shipping as you can. You don't have to do same day, but 2 day is pretty good. That way you have a little bit of buffer if you can't get to it the same day. Offer free returns. Personally, me as a buyer, I don't buy anything that I don't have an opportunity to return it. That way I know um, if something comes in and it doesn't work like it says, I'm not going to have to just eat the cost. So the last field you have to make a decision on is the promotions. And depending on how many items you're competing against, if there's only 5 to 10, I probably wouldn't do anything with it. But as you saw the Nordic ware pan, there was quite a few, so I'm going to promote this one. And I don't recommend doing the, what eBay tells you of, 10%. That's just more fees that you have to pay. But the minimum you do have to recommend or promote an item is going to be 2%. So I always do just minimum 2%. And I'll be honest with y'all, yeah, I didn't pull the data, but 50% or more of my sales are from promoted listings. So for me, it's been helpful on moving product. So if you want, you can hit the preview tab to see what the buyers are going to see on their end when looking at your item. Now, I don't always do this. I've been doing this long enough, but just double check, make sure everything looks good for you, and then you can go back and hit the button that says list it now for free, and then you're on your way. So thank y'all for making it all the way to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please smash that like button, subscribe, leave me a comment below if you have questions or if you learned something new here. I've got plenty of other videos on the channel now. I think I'm up to 6, but most of them are sourcing. So check those out as well and appreciate it. And happy flipping!